Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. I'm Jackie Cation and I'm your host. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com. The rest of them, you probably know. Anyway, let's get right into the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song you just heard. He sang it with his wife, Sarah Cohen. He will sing again his words to the Mexican hat dance at the end of this program. Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio, and Vilmos does my website, JackieCation.com. There are many ways to support the show if you wish to support the show. First and foremost, and probably easiest, would be to review the show on iTunes. Tell friends about it with your face. Those are the ones. Then the next thing that doesn't cost any money, you can use the Amazon banner that is on both DorkForest.com and JackieCation.com under Support the Show or at the top bar. And all you do is use that as a portal, the Amazon banner or the Amazon link, to get to Amazon, order as normal, and it doesn't cost you extra. Dork Forest gets a little bit of a kickback. The next thing you can do, PayPal button. That's right. PayPal button is just a way to directly give the Dork Forest money. You can donate monthly. That'd be $10 a month, would be $100 a year, which is what bands tell people to give them. And so that's what I tell people to give me, because in November and December, I tell you not to donate. Instead, find a food bank. Anyway, if you want to donate monthly, I have not made that easy. You'll have to remember every single month that you like the show. So do whatever you want there. Some people don't like PayPal and have begun to Venmo me money. That is acceptable, as you can well imagine. Other than that, on JackieCation.com, there is merch. If you would like a Dork Forest t-shirt or a Ranger of the Dork Forest t-shirt or one of my stand-up albums, my stand-up DVD, or a stand-up t-shirt, they are all at JackieCation.com in the store, in the merch page. All the t-shirts are 100% cotton, pre-shrunk. They are union made here in the United States of America, so they run a little big because they're made by Americans. And you can order those. Shipping is included. You can get the CDs and DVDs, hard copies on my website. Everything's available digitally. You can get them at iTunes and Amazon. And the DVD you can get streaming at comedyfilmnerds.com on their download page. The name of my DVD special is This Will Make an Excellent Horcrux. That is available as a video or as an audio. Okay. I have a new album. It is called I Am Not the Hero of This Story, and it was number 1 on Amazon and iTunes and number 3 on Billboard, so I'm very proud of it. You should go and get that. I Am Not the Hero of This Story. You can listen to everything on Pandora, Spotify, and Amazon Prime if you have those things. And come and see me live. If you want to know more about it, you can follow me on Twitter at JackieCation or Snapchat or Instagram, all the things, or you can just go to JackieCation.com and check out my schedule. Enough is enough. Let's get into it. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. I'm in my living room with a Midwestern comic that I don't know, Charlie Hester. Welcome to the program, Charlie Hester.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie.
There we go. And it's at A Little Off Color.
Yes.
Know you. International folk. On Twitter, A Little Off Color. You can spell all those words because we're all dorks. And then CharlieHesterComedy.com probably has links to whatever anybody wants to find.
Yep. I'm pretty easy to track down.
Fair enough. It's easy enough. So now where do you do stand-up?
I do it all over the Midwest.
Okay.
So there's really not a big...
Is there anything in Danville?
Only the shows that I put on. I put on a show in my backyard called Courtyard Comedy, and I bring all my comic friends in from all over, and it's pretty fun.
That's great. And that is an excellent model. That's the new model of because you can't, it's hard to get into the clubs.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I take it, I will just put this on myself and people will come and see the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because then I get to bring in all of my awesome comedy friends from all the other clubs where I'm
people that you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And bring them in and expose my community to this whole new world of stand-up comic.
If I might be so bold, how many people does your backyard seat?
I squish 63 people in there.
That's plenty.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Anything over 25, I'm like, oh, that's a real show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think it was many years ago, Doug Stanhope said something like, if you can get 50 people to pay $10, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So if you can get 63 people to pay $5, you're fine.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all good. So, Charlie Hester, what are you doing in town? Were you just in town to run up the flagpole to kind of look around?
No, I was in town doing a show for another podcast called the Y-Tunes Shuffle, and they had a big season 2 kickoff party, and I wrote an original song for them and came in
awesome.
and did a little bit.
So that'll be on Y-Tunes?
Y-Tunes Shuffle. I think it's available
W-H-Y?
on just Y.
Y, the letter Y,
Yeah.
Tunes, Tunes. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else I'd spell tunes. And then shuffle, ytuneshuffle.com.
Yeah.
Or look it up on iTunes, I assume.
Yeah, iTunes, and then I think you can get it on iHeartRadio or
Okay.
Podbean. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So they're all the places that we are all.
Yeah.
So yes, good for them. And and you do musical comedy. So you write sort of parody songs, or you write your own stuff, and it's funny.
I just write my own stuff, and I try to make it really funny, but it's usually dirty. So yeah, that's just how I roll.
Yeah, there's dirty is often funny.
Yeah.
So everybody has a 6-year-old inside of them. So
Exactly.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And so Charlie Hester, let's talk briefly about the holy trinity of cartoons that you enjoy, which weird. Dr. Katz, Home Movies, and Bob's Burgers. I have seen one episode of Dr. Katz. I think it was the Andy Kindler episode.
You haven't even seen the Maria Bamford episode?
No. No. Is it now? When did Dr. It was Comedy Central, right?
Yeah, it was on their very first animation block back in the 90s, and I think it came out like 1997.
Okay.
And I felt like it was groundbreaking. It was one of the first shows that was truly, it was an adult cartoon, which was a sort of a new concept
Yeah.
at the time. And it had this beautiful conversational comedy, which, it wasn't just hit 'em hard, hit 'em fast, hit 'em with fart noises.
Right,
there
right.
was actual content in
Right,
there.
because I remember auditioning for it and not getting it, but I remember them. They wanted like anecdotal stuff, and that Dr. Katz could, because he lies. Essentially, he's a psychiatrist, and
Right.
then you are supposedly on a couch doing your bit for them.
Exactly.
For him.
Which is perfect for comedians.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
and would have been perfect for me, Dr. Katz. But it was on Comedy Central, and it was. That sounds fascinating, actually, and because I know that there was other adult stuff, but I think it was like the first mainstreamy kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. It was on right before South Park started.
Okay.
So it was sort of there was a real changing of the tides with the Comedy Central programming.
Yeah.
And so it became less and less about stand up and whose line is it anyway, and more into these, actual comedically themed shows.
Right.
So, and
Comics creating content kind of
exactly,
thing with a bigger,
which is a beautiful thing.
which is a beautiful thing, because I think previously, like and what year did you think that it started?
Like 1997.
97. Yeah. Because I think earlier than that, there was this rush of sitcoms.
Yes.
That then I think the television industry realized that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And so if you just let a comic say, well, I have an idea where we would do this, and then all of a sudden Moshe Kasher has a show, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it came out of his brain, but he doesn't have to act.
Yes. And that's very important when it comes to a lot of
with
comics.
a lot of comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many seasons were there, do you think?
There
Were at least 3, right?
Oh yeah. No, there were a lot.
And they were kind of the weird seasons because it's Comedy Central. So
Yeah.
who knows how many episodes were in
Yeah, I have the DVD set and there's 13 discs in there.
okay. And
It's
there's
a
probably
lot.
6 episodes per disc. So
Yeah.
at least.
between 6 and 8.
And
So-
how long is it 20 minutes? Or
Yeah,
is
like
it,
22 minutes.
okay. So half-hour sitcom length.
Yeah. But it's really awesome because you just find some gems on those DVDs. Like Mitch Hedberg was on it.
Right.
And,
How many comics per episode? Just one or
2.
2. Okay.
Two,
So there'll
yeah.
be 2 sessions.
2 patients, yes.
Yes, 2
And then,
patients.
yes, and then of course you have the interaction between Dr. Katz and his son Ben, who was played by H. John Benjamin.
That's right. And his
Yeah.
secretary.
Yes.
Was that Laura Silverman?
Laura Silverman.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to see everything. I think that's been established on this program, that I'd love to see all the television,
Right.
but I don't care enough to actually
Yeah.
turn it on. This is our television. It is rarely on. And for 3 days, Andy has been saying to me, do you want to watch that last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And I'm like, nah, not right now. I'm going to go read a book. And all I'm doing, quite honestly, is I'm in our bedroom rereading a book. I'm not even reading a new book.
It's not even.
Which is dumb. But so I do want to watch it, but it's too bad that I haven't. But now I get to hear all about it.
Yeah.
And, so Mitch was on it. That's neat.
Yeah.
Cause he's super dry too.
Yeah, he was, but I tell you, it was perfect for that. Yeah. And then
Cause Dr. Katz is dry.
Dr. Katz is very dry. Yeah, he is. He's just a bit, but that's kind of his shtick. I mean, he works it really well. Just very low key, low energy, but just
But
the
him
things.
and Mitch Hedberg, that a fire would start with the amount of tinder of dryness going on there. Really?
Yeah, but it was beautiful. One of the neat things about Dr. Katz was that they did retrospecting, which is where the comics would go into the booth and they would film or they would record their sets.
Yep.
And then Tom Snyder would go back and have Jonathan Katz do his little,
Oh, like riff off of it?
yeah.
Okay.
And then they would edit all of that together.
Okay.
So-
And then they would animate it.
Yeah. So
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they tried doing it with Dr. Katz with Jonathan Katz in the booth with the comic, and it turned into an actual therapy session, and so they just couldn't do it anymore. So because
That's kind of awesome.
yeah, because he's a great guy and he just wanted to help people,
Yeah, yeah.
and so
That's
super fun.
okay. So they recorded it separately.
Yes.
How ebony and ivory of them.
Yeah.
So the comic would just do their set, whatever it was.
Right.
Like if it were 5 minutes or if it was 15 minutes. And then Dr. Katz would listen to it separately in the booth and then try to riff off of it.
Yeah.
And then they'd put them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's beautiful because I don't know, there's this magic to it that was so, once that show ended, it was just lost on every other
Right. I
show.
don't know how you could I mean, I could see how you could duplicate it, but it's so hard to do stand up in a vacuum, right? Have you ever seen Ian Abrams?
Yeah, 7 minutes in purgatory.
7 minutes in purgatory. Stand up in a vacuum is hard, but this thing isn't created. Like there's, going into the booth that there's no audience.
Right.
So they're like, you're just running lines, but make sure your timing's right and keep your energy up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was what the direction was.
Yeah.
And then what? I wonder if they asked him if they could just pause so that there would be places for him. Cause I talk so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, I will obsess why they never booked me, but, I'll have to let that go. And, but it was interesting because, what a great idea. So, who else did it? Did everybody do it essentially, like in New York? At the time?
Yeah. Jim Gaffigan, Ray Romano,
Wow.
Laura Keitlinger.
Right.
So, I mean,
It makes sense.
Yeah. So,
Right.
and they recorded it in Boston. So that was
Okay.
super fun. Yeah. So
Weird. I wonder if the comics could do it remotely.
I don't believe that they did at the time. I think
Okay.
that they
They
just
could
had,
now.
yeah, they could now.
Right. But 97, it was a harder road to hoe, I guess.
Internet
maybe.
wasn't so great back then.
Right. Well, they could have sent discs and whatever.
Yeah.
God knows what they could have done. Yeah. But, so was it the comedy that was great? Was it the revealing, or was it Jonathan Katz's riffing that made it?
Gosh, well, it's always so much fun because every episode is a little bit different. Some of them, I love the interaction between John Katz and Ben Katz.
Right. Who plays his son?
Yeah. It's just, it's such a weird relationship and so codependent and just painful. And poor Ben is trying to figure out how to be an adult, and he's 24 and he's still living at home and just has not one single aspiration. And,
Wow.
it's the person that we all want to be, but we can't afford to be.
Right.
We got to
He's
get out there and
allowed.
hustle. Yeah.
He's just allowed to stay home.
Yeah. Just,
And not do anything.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
So
Wow.
super fun. And then of course, Laura Silverman can I swear on you?
Of course. Swear it up.
Just the absolute bitchiest secretary in the whole wide world, and just everything is just
Right,
no
just
and
snark
sighing.
galore, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just the exhaustion of just watching. And how did she interact with the comics? Like, because there had to be some short scenes.
Oh yes,
I wonder how they recorded that.
And
That's awesome.
and I do think that they recorded those together because Laura was just so mean to them, and they just wanted to catch those moments. But no, I mean, she was just brutal, and she just be like, sit down, shut up, don't talk to me,
Right.
and it's
Right. I'm not your therapist.
exactly.
Oh my God. I have to get Laura on here.
Yes.
And I don't know what her dorkdom would be, but I could at least ask
Yeah.
How she did the recording. And neat. Okay. Well, who are your favorite comics that you did it with? Or what are some of your favorite scenes, episodes, comedians,
Oh, boy.
interactions on that program?
I think one of my favorite ones, Andy Kindler was on it. But it's called Morning Person, and it's all about, there's a death in the family.
I love that you know the name of the episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, John Katz has to do a eulogy for his great aunt or something ridiculous.
Right.
And he can't stop laughing. Anytime that he gets upset, he laughs. And it's just so painful, like the worst case of church giggles that you've ever gotten, but at a funeral. So yeah. And
That one was a great one.
it was a great one. One of the other great ones was the Thanksgiving episode. And, that one had, Carrie Fisher
Oh, wow.
playing Jonathan Katz's ex-wife and Ben's mom. And she comes and has Thanksgiving dinner with him, and it's just so painful and awkward and delightful.
So it is sort of anecdotal in the or episodic a little bit because there's a family dynamic to it.
There is a family dynamic, but the fun thing is that really you can pick up at any episode and still enjoy it. You can sort of jump into the middle, and it's a nice thing because you can become a fan at any point.
Right. Jump right in.
Love it.
The water's great. No reason not to just start now.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. Okay. So, what was Maria's episode like? Was it just her talking about did she, like in 97, she would have had all that office work kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
I'm trying to remember what her act was.
Yeah, I'm like looking up and trying to, because as soon as I see the episode name, I know that I will. You'll
remember the episode.
Yeah, because that's kind of how my brain works.
Sure,
especially when it comes to this sort of stuff. My Holy Trinity. I can't remember where I ever park my car. Right, but you name an episode, and I can tell you.
Sure, I always park my car in the same spot. When I go to like a mall or
How
something.
do you do that in LA? Parking is ridiculous out here.
Oh, parking's okay. It just, the Improv just took away the parking lot when this has been being recorded. And, I don't know where I'll park now because I have to figure out, because I could always find my car after the Improv and stone cold sober anyway. So, but I do lose I do forget where things are. And even like sometimes I'll take a picture of the pole at the mall and it'll say, 4J, level 4J, and there'll be a giant green pole.
Yeah.
And then I'll end up on the wrong side where there's also a fourth floor and it's also green. And I'm like, this isn't where my car is. And I'll have to traverse across the way. Did you find it?
No, because my internet's being dumb, but I'll remember it before the end. So,
no, that's fine. It's we can move on to the next. You enjoy home movies, which I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
what is
wow?
that?
Okay, so here's what happened. Lauren Bouchard worked on Dr. Katz, and he was doing such a great job that Tom Snyder wanted to give him an opportunity to have his own show, and so they wrote this thing out. They found Brendan Small and Melissa Barden-Glasky, and they created this beautiful little series about 3 8-year-old kids who make movies.
Okay.
And they're terrible movies.
Right.
But it's that whole, when you're 8 years old, everything that you do feels bigger than life.
Sure.
And so
let's put on a show.
Yes, they are just
when I was
committed
a kid,
to it.
nobody recorded them.
Yeah,
and it was really for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's wonderful. And so Lauren Bouchard really brought in this fantastic group of comics, and H. John Benjamin was also in that one.
Okay.
And Jonathan Katz came
Guested.
in. Yeah. Ron Lynch played the 4th grade teacher.
Okay.
And it's just, it's so charming and delightful. And just there are moments where,
like, they have like a Super 8 camera, or they have a VHS.
They just have like a VHS camera,
Yeah.
and they just go around and make
and they're like, we're making a movie.
exactly. And it's, oh gosh. Yeah. Home movies I love Dr. Katz, but home movies is truly the one that just my heart beats for.
Okay. Cause it's
I think it's because there's a lot of music in it. That was one amazing thing that Brendan Small brought into, which he's really into rock and roll and, has always been in bands.
So there's a soundtrack or?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of fantastic music that goes along with it. But Brendan Small later went on to do Metalocalypse and all these fantastic things. Yep.
Do you know in your heart that Aisha Tyler sat right where you are? And I said, what have you been doing since Friends? So, the Dork Forest, I'm the Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner? Not even. Hugh, no, I don't even know who I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. So, but it's like, I never know who anybody is.
Right.
But I've heard of all of those people. I'm sure they're very nice and very talented.
Yeah.
Like Brendan Small, I've seen him a million times and he's always very funny.
Yeah.
And it's, because I hang out in all these sort of, like where Ron Lynch hangs out, I hang out those places.
Yeah.
So all of those people are there.
Yes.
And so I get to see those people and I get to be wowed and excited by their comedy. And it's usually variety-ish and stand-up-y and all those things together. It's very beautiful.
Right.
But when it comes to their work on, like their paid work on,
Right.
I am sadly not watching the television, but I want to. I don't know. But I don't, and I don't know that will ever change. So I hope it all works out for everybody who wants me to. Anyway, so what do they have parents? These 8-year-olds?
Yes, they do, and I very much connect to the parents that are on home movies because they're really encouraging about the arts. They really want to support these kids doing these things, but also they're working and they're tired and they're exhausted and,
so they're cameos.
Exactly.
And are they ever forced to watch the movies?
Oh yeah.
So and that's a lot of the comedy, I bet.
Yeah, it sure can be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it's just really cute the way that now looking back on it, because when I first started watching home movies, I had just become a parent myself.
Right.
And I look back now on how I've supported the arts with my kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just like Paula Small, just shut the basement door and just go for it, kids.
Yeah,
it's just perfect.
Right. It's, when you think about it's, my parents encouraging all of us to take an instrument. And then the fact that they had to sit through us learning how to play an instrument.
Yes.
That is, that's parenting at its finest.
Yes.
Really.
That truly shows the depth of a parent's love.
Yeah.
Listening.
Even though in the summer, they would say to my sister who was learning violin, they're like, go practice in the garage. Yeah. Violin's brutal.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty painful.
Yeah, it's a hard one. So, anything else you want to say about home movies? This could be the shortest episode of the Dork Forest ever.
No, absolutely not. There's a lot to say about home movies. One of the great things was, we're quoters in my house.
Sure.
We quote TV shows, movies, but home movies is the one that we quote the absolute most.
Okay.
In our house. And there's an episode called Broken Dreams, and they make a reference to a towel, and it comes across as towel. A what? A towel. And so the entirety of my children growing up, anytime that they would ever ask for a towel, we would be like, a what? And then they had to repeat a towel. Yeah. They had no idea why they were saying it.
Okay.
But they just knew that was what you did in our house.
Because they had never seen the original. It's sort of like Gone with the Wind, The Godfather, and getting all the references without knowing, because The Simpsons have shown them.
Exactly.
Instead of seeing The Godfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then the very first time that they got to watch home movies with us, we showed them that episode and they just looked at us with wide eyes and they're like, my life makes so much sense now, and now, my kids, my entire family can recite the canon of home movies.
Because they've seen all of have they seen all of Dr. Katz as well?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's sort of a requirement for being raised in my house. It's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, and there's, one of the great things is the music. And so anytime somebody's taking a bath, we'll walk past the door and sing the Clean Bean song. And
okay, because it's all written. It's all written for the show?
Yeah.
Home movies was sort of like Adventure Time and Steven Universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Which are also shows that we enjoy very much in the house.
Sure. Those are the new versions of these shows, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
yeah. So, but I tell you, home movies just had so much heart. And H. John Benjamin playing.
How many seasons of that?
There were 4.
Okay.
There were 4, and I still can't watch the last episode without crying because it's one of those.
Did they turn 9? Spoiler alert, you guys.
That's all right. They grow up.
And
So,
Puff
but
the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
Things happen, you guys. I always cry when I hear Puff the Magic Dragon.
Aw.
Because it's, I don't know if you've ever heard this song.
Oh yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
So
It's fair enough.
Yep. So, but H. John Benjamin playing Coach McGurk, I mean, he's the worst coach possible, and he does nothing but just yell at the kids and just make fun of them. And he kind of feels like my spirit animal a lot. Just,
Right, he
doesn't.
gets to say all the things because you know that he's not yelling at actual children, he's yelling at adult comics.
Exactly. And he just
Right.
does not give a flip about following rules or anything. And it's delightful. So yeah,
Excellent.
you learn a lot of life lessons from Coach McGurk. On
You get a
home
lot
movies.
okay, so home movies, what years were those?
That was, I think, 2002.
So early 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay,
early 2000s.
that's fine.
So
And I don't have a horse in that race. So it's, but I like that, and these are probably all on Netflix or Hulu or something, YouTube at the very least.
Dr. Katz is not.
Dr.
Dr. Katz is the only one that's not available on one of main platforms.
Oh, really? Do you think he owns the rights to it?
Oh, that's a discussion. That's a very long discussion.
We have time.
Yeah, there's been some issues trying to get Dr. Katz onto Netflix or something like that, and it just never quite works out with the way that it's
Has there been
owned
drama?
now. Well, I think there's been a little frustration trying to get it out there to the masses.
Because you would think it would be owned by Comedy Central, because Comedy Central buys these shows and they usually do buyouts.
Yeah,
so
well-
Jonathan Katz obviously negotiated something else.
I think it was Tom Snyder's show.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I think that there was some purchasing that happened and later on. I mean, and especially because Dr. Katz was an Emmy-winning show. So
Okay.
it was absolutely, everybody wanted it and they wanted the rights and the DVDs and
But going in, they couldn't have known it was going to be as great as it was going to be.
I don't think they had any idea.
Right. So, but those initial, I've signed so many initial contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is there's people who are smart enough, like you find out that like Dean Martin's show in the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, you don't have to pay me. Just give me GE stock. Cause GE owned NBC at the time.
Yeah.
And so he ended up with just like I don't know, 7% of GE by the time he,
Wow.
or not that much, but I mean,
But
like
still, yeah.
so much stock in GE by the
Right.
time the show was over that there was never a need to work again.
Yeah.
And so it was, but so maybe Tom Snyder knew that it was going to be a big deal and said, we'll do it. We just need to keep the rights. We want it. Or maybe he sold them away for a certain amount of time or something. We don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
All we know
Yeah.
is that it's not on Netflix.
It is not on Netflix. So you can
Interesting.
buy a few of the DVDs on Amazon. And
You can buy them on Amazon.
Yes.
I wonder who puts them out, because if Comedy Central puts them out,
yeah.
that's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and then you can always watch it on YouTube. People,
yeah, they put it up on YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing to be done.
No.
And
So-
and that's fine if you've never seen it. And hey, Tom Snyder, fucking figure it out, because you could be making 3 cents an episode. And
I love
instead,
Tom Snyder so much.
I don't know Tom Snyder. What's Tom Snyder doing now? I wonder.
Actually, he is up in Boston, and he just finished writing a musical.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
What's the musical about?
It is about people. It's called Wait. Oh,
Wait, don't talk. Tell me. Wait. Is it the NPR musical?
Oh, Tom Snyder, I'm so sorry. My brain is not working. I can't remember the name of your musical.
Oh,
I
that's
feel
fine.
so
You
bad.
can look it up.
Yeah.
And I can admit to the people of the Dork Forest that I don't know who Tom Snyder is. But it's I don't know. As I go along in the Dork Forest and realize that it's okay.
Yes.
To not
Is-
know things.
Is Anyone All Right? The musical.
Is anyone all right? The
Yes.
musical.
Yes.
All right.
So
By Tom Snyder, creator of Dr. Katz.
Yep.
And let me see.
Sure.
Let me see your phone. This is interesting because I wish really made my week. It's calling all fans of Dr. Katz home movies and Science Court.
Oh,
a new
yeah.
series
Science
streaming
Court.
now. Is anyone all right? The musical by Tom Snyder's. It's on iTunes, so it's not even a production. it's a soundtrack.
Yeah, right.
He
yeah.
essentially, so
Yeah.
far, he's written the soundtrack and he's put it out on iTunes.
Yep. And I believe that he is working on getting
love
that
that.
put together. I know.
There's like this whole thing where you're just like, no, I'm just going to make it. And then if you want to make it into a real thing,
Yeah.
we can adjust that.
Yeah.
And because he's obviously a musical guy.
Yeah, he is.
And like Lin-Manuel Miranda is a song and dance guy. So he's like, well, I'm just going to put it together at this tiny theater. And then the public might someday want it. And then, that's not. Because he did the Puerto Rican thing first. That's what I like to call it, the Puerto Rican thing. Fantastic, making friends. But he is Puerto Rican. It was about his neighborhood in New York. I just can't remember the name of it. Do you remember the name of his first musical that won a bunch of Tonys? And yeah, I'm sure any number of Rangers are yelling at their iPhones.
We're really
right now.
great at this.
Well, it's fine. And once it is said to me, I will know it for sure. Anyway, so what about Bob's Burgers?
Oh, holy wow. Bob's Burgers. This is the first show that has felt like home.
Dan Mintz. I know that guy. He's on it.
Oh, he's fantastic. Plays Tina, and he's just delightful.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, you haven't watched?
Nope.
Bob's
I haven't
Burgers?
watched Bob's Burgers. Bamford's on that one as well.
Yes.
She's got work.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her. I could be on any of these programs, you guys. I have a voice.
Gotcha.
But it's, but what is, and I don't know if I'm not watching it because I'm jealous or if I tend to watch animated movies.
Right.
And a lot of, it's like, I like action-y, cartoons, and I've seen Star Wars Rebels. I've seen that TV show.
All right.
That's a cartoon.
Yeah, it is.
There you go. But I have not seen Bob's Burgers. It might be because I don't smoke pot. And I feel like it's the new, SpongeBob.
Well, that is a very interesting comparison. I think that with Bob's Burgers,
What's the story of Bob's Burgers?
it's about a family and they run a restaurant.
And they run a burger joint.
Yeah, they run a burger joint.
Okay.
And they all work
Who
together.
are the family?
It is Bob, Linda, Tina, Louise, and Jean. And the kids are young. They're like 12 and I think 9 and 8.
And who are the kids?
The kids are
Tina.
played, Tina, Jean, and Louise. And it's, Eugene Merman.
Okay.
And, Kristen Shaw.
Okay.
And then Dan Mintz.
Right.
So, yeah. And,
And it's just another sort of family sitcom, but done animated, and
yeah,
it's got a nice heart, and it
really does.
Yeah.
But it's cute because I think that it really captures where families are now. You know, this new idea of what a family can talk about. And
okay,
yeah,
this isn't a traditional family, mom, dad, and kids.
Yeah, it's
like
just
The
tradition.
Simpsons?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just traditional. But the discussions that they have and the level at which they talk to their kids, it's not just, oh, sweetie, oh, honey, you're little, so you don't understand. No, we're going to talk to you about big concepts and, we're going to let you grow up and make mistakes and we'll be there to support you and kind of help you clean up the mess after you're done. So
Like what?
Like when Tina wrecks the family car because her dad really encouraged her to drive, even though she wasn't old enough and she was going 5 miles an hour and hit a parked car.
Okay.
And then they try and, pull one over on the insurance guy and
Where
say
he
that
was driving?
he was driving, not the kid.
Right.
But it's really cute. And poor Tina has an existential crisis about the fact that she wrecked the car and she feels so racked with guilt. And
Right. Does anyone feel bad that they're lying to the insurance company?
well, she did. And so,
but not the adults.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the adults were like,
hilarious.
please don't blow this for us,
Right.
and she just couldn't take the pressure.
Right. Because and it's interesting that all of the casts are all adults, but they're extrapolating on how parents lie to their children.
Yeah.
And how we're all being raised with this instead of morals, they're just parents' ideas of encouragement sometimes these days is not help others and be a good kid and be a good person. It's, well, just go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it, honey. And you're like, what does that mean? Does that mean at any cost? With any price? Okay. which isn't the way you should. And so it's interesting that the cartoons are trying to sort of course correct.
Yeah.
For some parenting.
Yeah,
that may
a
or may
little
not
bit.
be
Yeah.
happening.
So, but there's, I mean, a lot of the new up and coming comics are coming on to Bob's Burgers, and they still have a lot of the old favorites, like Sarah and Laura Silverman are on the show. They play Ollie and Andy, a set of twins that are just obnoxious, and they're but there's
Or like kids at school kind of thing.
Exactly.
Or people who come into the restaurant.
Well, they come into I think their dad owns the restaurant across the street, which is competition.
Rival restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. It's an Italian restaurant and it's way better, but the guy's a jerk. And so nobody wants
Nobody wants to support them.
Exactly.
Instead, go to the mediocre burger joint.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then they have their regular customers, Andy Kindler and, yeah.
So there's plenty
Teddy.
of work for these people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the episodes are just darling. But there again, Lauren Bouchard, who this is his show. He took what he learned on home movies and he added in music. And so they do all of these amazing musical episodes and it's so much fun. They did one about Thomas Edison with Topsy the elephant.
Okay.
And talking about electrocuting the elephant. And I mean, it's
dark and funny.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is it catchy? Are the tunes catchy?
They're extremely catchy.
Very catchy.
Extremely catchy. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, because I got to meet I did this nerd cruise, right? Joko Nerd Cruise, and with Jonathan Colton and his 1,780 fans who want to go on a cruise ship for a week down to Mexico, and it was amazing. It was incredibly. It was just really soothing to be around these people. But some of the other people that were performing on this was this woman Rebecca Sugar.
Okay,
and she is the executive producer of Steven Universe.
Oh yeah,
and
that's a good show.
So I met her and her brother Steven, who the show is based on. And she writes all the music for Steven Universe, and she did a bunch of music for Adventure Time.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like these are these adult. So I know that Dr. Katz and home movies were adult.
Yeah.
Is Bob's Burger for adults, or could it be seen by children?
Well, I mean, I guess that depends on your level of parenting.
Right.
I would
a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with my 7-year-old watching it. I mean, it's pretty frank. Mommies drink wine sometimes.
Right.
That's okay.
Right. Right. And there's all these levels whenever kids go to see any of these programs, what they see and what you think that they're seeing.
Yeah.
I saw Grease when I was 9. I certainly didn't get a lot of the pussy chasing that was happening.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it was
sweet and innocent and fun. And
it had a nice thing and there was some dance. And
Yeah.
It had a good beat and the kids, it was nice.
Yeah.
And, same with Footloose and Dirty Dancing. I didn't always get the B plots.
Yeah.
But it was great.
yeah. So
maybe they are for kids.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have a problem showing them to my kids. And
When did you show them home movies and Dr. Katz?
My kids were really close together. They're 17, 16, and 15.
Okay.
So I was really bad at tequila for a while.
But super fertile on it.
Yeah,
turns
exactly.
out.
So we showed them, I think the oldest one was 10. So they were 10, 9, and 8.
Okay.
And at that point we decided, okay, the kids are old enough. We can probably start swearing around them, being a little bit more who we are as people,
right.
Not just mom and dad. And then we introduced them to home movies. And then for probably the first year, they watched nothing else.
Right. Just over and over again.
Just over and over
again.
again.
Because you had DVDs.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And then what about, and do you watch Adventure Time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, I made an Adventure Time fan dress.
What?
It's a ball gown and I hand painted it and it's all Adventure Time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you wait a minute. I think we've reached, I don't know that I read the whole thing. So, you do fan art.
Yes.
But do you, cause I've had costume people on who then turn it into a job, but you haven't done that yet,
No.
right? You just make it for yourself.
I make it for myself, just for the pure joy of it.
Right. So you get like blank, stuff, It's called cloth.
Yeah.
And then,
well, actually what I do, because I'm a big believer in, rescuing old things that
sort of repurposing.
Yeah. So our Humane Society has a thrift store, and there was a ball gown, a big fluffy prom dress that just wasn't selling because it was just ugly. And so I'm like, hey, I think that'll fit me. I'll take it. And so bought it for like,
a nickel.
Yeah. And brought it home and then just started wailing away on that dress.
Just sort of like unpicked all the seams and stuff and just turned it back into.
Well, I left the shape of the dress itself. I pulled off all of the embellishments and then I put my own on. So yeah, you have like a huge mountain and a pink sky and clouds and then, lady rainicorns flying across it. And it's super fun. I wore it for an awards banquet. We have something called Pens to Lens in where I'm from, and kids write movie scripts, and then all of these local movie makers turn them into these big productions.
Okay.
And then we have a big gala. Yeah. And I was hosting the gala, and so I wore the Adventure Time ball gown, and all the kids were
lost their minds.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the parents too, because that's the nice thing. Cartoons are no longer just for kids.
Right. They're for several generations can watch this stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I do fan art, and that fan art has led me to a lot of interesting places.
Sure.
Yeah. So
what did you paint with? Is there cloth paint or did you just use acrylics? What happened?
Well, I used a mix of acrylics, some fabric paint, and spray paint.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the spray paint only because there was so much. The dress is huge, and I knew I wanted to create a big mountain. And so sometimes spray paint's a little easier to control. And so,
And, you know what I've never had on is someone who does and I forget the name of the kind of painting, but they do the sides of their van.
Oh, yeah.
It's, or shirts and stuff that have unicorns and Elvis.
Yeah, that
it's a spray gun.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. So anyway, but now I have with the fan art, I have Dr. Katz painted on my ukulele that I use in stand up.
Okay.
So that's really fun. And usually after every couple shows, somebody will come up and they'll be like, Dr. Katz is on your ukulele. And I'm like, yes, I found my tribe now. I know who I can talk to for the rest of the evening.
Right. Yeah.
So it kind of helps me weed out,
Yeah, you can find your people.
Exactly.
I can almost recognize them just by sort of the look in their face. You're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
He's getting the weird random jokes. That lady's going to be someone I'm going to want to talk to a little bit later.
Exactly.
Which is why that cruise was crazy, because there were too many of them, and I was like slightly overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because there were just too many people that I knew that I could relate to. I was like,
right.
I'm going to go hide in my room for a second.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk to these people, but I'm also overwhelmed.
Yeah. And it's good to have some quiet time and just kind of get your brain back in where good fighting shape.
Yeah. By the way, I'm talking to Charlie Hester. Let's do the thing where I tell people who you are. Charlie Hester, a musical comic, lives in Danville, works all over the road, one would imagine. Mm-hmm. And on Twitter, it's a little off color, is at a little off color, and charliehestercomedy.com. Charlie is spelled like Charlie. Hester is spelled like Hester Prynne, and comedy is spelled like Hester. No, it's spelled like comedy. But are you, what kind, do you do conventions and stuff? Do you ever go to cons? And
no, and it's for that
because there's anime cons and
there are, and it's mostly because I don't do well in crowds.
Okay.
And so I can be in front of a crowd, no problem.
Sure.
But being in the middle of a crowd, I get a little edgy, a little antsy, and I just don't do well.
Right.
So I tend to avoid a lot of those situations.
Right.
So,
just gathering. So, okay.
Yeah. I like small, intimate things a little better. They seem to be a little.
Right. So what do you do? So you just make fan art, and what are your usual mediums? What do you like to do? Sculpture? Are we talking about, kites?
No, I do, I have my painted ukulele. I do dresses and shoes. I have.
Really?
I have a pair of Archer shoes. I have a pair of home movie shoes.
What do you do with the shoes?
I take Mod Podge and
Mod Podge? What's that?
It's like a decoupage kind of thing, like from the 70s that your grandma used. And yeah, I just will cut out pictures or draw pictures and then actually stick them onto the shoe. So, yeah.
Okay. So, and it could be any shoe. Do you do sneakers? Do you do?
I do a lot of character shoes. My kids all did show choir, so we have like 8,000 pairs of character shoes hanging
What are
around.
show choir and what are character shoes?
Show choir is kind of like Glee, the singing
so it's
and
choir,
dancing.
but it includes dance.
It includes dance. Yes.
Show choir.
Yes. And
Okay.
all my kids did show choir, and my girls happen to wear the same size shoes as I do.
Right.
And so every year we'd come home
That
with,
might be genetic.
yeah, probably. So anyway, but we have all these extra pairs of character shoes lying around, and so I just turn them into whatever.
Shoes that they had to buy to be different characters?
They're just plain like dance shoes, but they have a little heel on them and a strap, and they're very
They
comfortable.
look like Mary Jane's, but they're...
Yeah, but just with a little heel.
Okay.
And perfect for dancing. So,
Okay.
and they usually come in tan or black. And so
Oh, okay.
then I just take those and
And go to town.
go to town. Yeah.
There you go. And so, and now you just rattled off several different, what you've done to some of them. So you take like images and shellac them or decoupage them
Yep.
on. What are, and then do you just wear them out?
Yeah, I do. I try and avoid when it's raining.
Sure.
They don't really do well in the rain.
Yeah.
So
I don't wear even shoes that I like when it's raining.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
So especially not the ones that took me hours to make.
Right.
But yeah, so like with the Archer ones, I think that I went on the internet and just found a bunch of other fan arts and then printed them off and then just sort of made this, they look like a big collage.
Okay.
But they're really,
That's got to be a rabbit hole when you start going down a fan art kind of.
yeah, it's pretty fun though.
I bet.
I mean, I love it because it makes me feel so much less alone in this world.
Sure.
It's, that's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's nice. I'm not
Other
the only
people are
one.
making this stuff, and have you seen stuff and kind of been inspired? One would imagine, but you're like, oh my gosh, I could do that,
Yeah,
kind of thing, or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you use it as a springboard to go in and do your next project. So,
Right.
And then like my music stand that I use for comedy when I'm like working on a new song or something
Yeah.
like that. It has the Archer Bob's Burger crossover episode. I have a scene, a still
Is there
from
an
the
Archer
show.
Bob's Burger
There
crossover?
is a crossover episode. So
I was like, I thought you had been like, my dream episode is an Archer Bob's
Yeah.
Burger crossover, but that exists.
no, it actually existed, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And Archer,
Does Archer go to eat at Bob's Burgers? Since they are stationary and Archer is not?
well, yeah, basically, I mean, Archer has an issue with temporary amnesia, and because Archer and Bob are played by the same voice actor.
Are they?
Yeah, H. John Benjamin.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he comes in and does this bit where he's working
Okay. Oh
with
my gosh.
at the restaurant, but he's Archer, and it's
Right.
all drawn in the style.
Are they on the
of-
same network?
No.
So that's interesting.
yeah.
That they just decided to do it. Because cartoons aren't union, they can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because it just, then you can just do, I mean, it's cheaper and it's easier to not have to work through.
Right.
Not that I would ever support not being union. Let's just say it out loud. So, but that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you did an Archer Bob's Burger crossover shoe.
No, I did a music stand.
Music stand. That's right. Your
Music
music stand
stand,
that
yeah.
you use. Do you bring your own music stand for the road, or do you?
Yeah.
Kind of have to.
No,
right?
I do. I have to pack it, and I
Musical
get searched by
comedy.
the TSA every time it's in my suitcase.
I have gotten searched by the TSA every time the last 5 times I've gone, and there's nothing in my suitcase.
Yeah.
There's stickers and CDs. That's because I'm not even bringing any. I mean, I'm not even bringing the small audio kit for Dork Forests on the road lately, and every time that's been searched.
Oh, wow.
It's a fascinating story. I'm never telling it again. Anyway, so what, so are there other crossovers, by the way?
No, not really.
Not offhand that you can think of?
no,
'Cause
not
that one's-
offhand. That one was.
That's kind of a great crossover, though.
Yeah, that was kind of the cream of the crop right there. And it was just beautiful. I mean, and now a lot of the actors, they'll, bounce between the shows.
Yeah.
And, Eugene Merman and Kristen Shaw have
a
done
lot
bits
of
on Archer. And
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So,
Adventure Time, too, I think has a lot of those same
Yeah.
kind of dudes.
yeah, John Katz has been on Adventure Time.
I know that Maria did
Bamford,
Cat
yeah.
Dog. She did Cat Dog. Do you ever see that
Yeah.
TV show? I never saw that TV show.
Gosh, that's been a while.
Yeah, that one's over, but she still gets people who come up and said, I loved you on Cat Dog.
Oh, yeah.
So, as far as I can tell, that was about an animal that was, the front half was a cat and the back half was a dog.
Yeah.
Or if you're more dog centric. The front half was the dog, and the back half was the cat.
I'm not sure
here
that
to
they
judge.
ever established who was the front and who was the back.
It
but-
seems that would be rude.
Yeah. But you were talking about people coming up to Maria and telling her that they love her on that. And I ran into Laura Keitlinger Saturday night when I was here in LA.
Oh, there you go.
And so I told her, I said, I have loved your work ever since Dr. Katz. And so, that was just, that was.
And that, by the way, is the way to put it. You don't just say, I loved you on Dr. Katz, because that implies that was the only thing she did.
Right.
Since Dr. Katz, that's where I became your fan and went forward. Good call.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and she's got a huge body of work. And of course, she did Will and Grace. So how could I not adore her?
She had the greatest job on Will and Grace where she, she was on the show, obviously, but she also had this other, she had the, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, that's a writing job I could do, which is she was on the set and she would just do punch up. She would watch the table read and she would throw out new punchlines.
Oh,
And you're like, oh, well,
that's a great job.
that's a great job.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I want that job.
Yeah. You don't have to sit in a writing room for 14 hours a day and tell
Right.
fisting jokes
Yeah.
until someone says something funny. So I'm in favor of that, and I know that there's more to it than that, so fuck off.
Yep.
Okay, so, wow, there's some bleed over into the Jackie and Laurie show today. Anyway, so, yeah, so wait, you also got to meet Jonathan Katz, right, and Tom Snyder?
Yeah.
Which was a big deal. That's neat.
That was a big deal for me.
In Boston.
Yeah.
Do you go to Boston regularly, or?
I've been a couple times. I'm planning to go back this June. I'm traveling with a friend of mine. We're going to do a tour through Boston and hit Boston, New York City. But anyway, my fan art got me to a place where I was able to meet Jonathan Katz and Tom Snyder. They started a new show on YouTube called Explosion Bus. And this was with just Tom Snyder and John Katz and then Tom Leopold.
Okay.
Who worked on Cheers and The Ellen Show. And yeah, he's just amazing. Anyway, so they had this beautiful little cartoon and I was so excited. And they had a call they just wanted people to just do like a talent contest, basically. And they would put clips of these people doing their talent at the beginning of the cartoon. And so I said, I'm going to do fan art. That's my talent. And so I painted a bread maker that looked like the two gentlemen from Explosion Bus.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting my own spin-off of the show. So that was really fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So the bread maker looked like a bus and the two guys were in it?
It was bright yellow and then it had the two characters painted on the front.
Right,
and it was pretty cute.
Bread maker kind of cheap these days on a thrift level.
Yeah,
just because
they
it's
are.
sort of like a treadmill.
Nobody wants them because they take up so much room and nobody has counter space. And so
if you want to make bread, you could just make bread.
Yeah.
It's we had a bread maker for a while. I was always putting it in the wrong order.
Oh, and so the bread never turned out.
Yeah, the bread didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, but Andy could do it right. It turns out he read the directions and he did it right. And it was all good.
Yeah.
That will always help. So, yeah. And, well, that's neat. I mean, that's the thing about fan art is that it can get the attention of other people, like-minded people. And then, of course, the creators who are always excited. And it's like fan fiction. It's fan art. It just, because everyone's consumed to some extent with the thing that they made. So they're looking around for other people who like it and how they're extrapolating on it.
Right.
So,
yeah. And with me, my passions run really deep. And, because especially with Dr. Katz and home movies, they were so influential in how I relate to the world as a whole. I mean, that's just what happened.
Yeah.
It just that sort of sarcasm and snark and yet still compassion, but
right. It was like this compassionate fun making. I mock because I love.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we always say.
Exactly.
So.
And so as soon as I saw that, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. And so I pitched an idea to the producer of the show and ended up getting my own spinoff. And
that's great. Where should people go to see that?
It's on YouTube on the Explosion Bus channel.
Okay.
So, and I am the Crazy Cats lady.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go check that out. Charlie Hester, by the way, that's what you're Googling. That's what you're looking for. Yep. It's charliehestercomedy.com and at A Little Off Color. So, yeah, that's awesome. So do you ever write? Do you ever do any of the fan fiction stuff or is it mostly just images?
I've got most of it is images. I have a couple spec scripts that I've got, but I've never really gotten anywhere with them.
Right.
But I keep writing them just because I love them and it's good to keep writing. Keeps you sharp.
Yep.
And so and I love it. It flows so naturally for me because I feel like I know these characters so well because I've been in touch with this exact group of comedy for so long.
Right. You've been following all of these actors
since the beginning.
20 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're like, oh, I know what their voice is capable of.
Exactly.
I know what that's neat. And you've also watched all these different shows. So you know where the funny can come from or where it can go, where you could put compassion in.
Yeah.
And how wacky it can, I assume how wacky it can get.
Yes. Yes. So I actually, one of the most fun characters on Bob's Burgers is the mom, Linda, and she's played by I think it's John Roberts. Anyway, but it's a man who plays it, but she's just a delightful woman, but she sings these terrible songs, which is right up my alley.
Yeah.
Like the more
Right.
ridiculous that I can write a song, it just makes me happy.
Right, and they're all musical. All of these things, except for Dr. Katz, have a musical element to them that you clearly need to be. I mean, that's just going to feed the well, just watching other people, what's possible.
Yeah.
That's always that's the neat thing about all different parts. We're in a golden age, I think, of creative content where it can be so specific and so unique and create these communities, which, of course, also creates these weird communities of racist Nazis who are like, I finally found you.
Yeah.
And you're like, boo, that wasn't why we did this.
Right.
We were doing this so that nerds could find each other,
right?
Not people who hate themselves and so have to hate outside of their own. Yes. Anyway, but it is, I mean, I don't know if it's, I think it's worth it. Quite honestly, I think it's worth because defining each of these groups.
Yeah.
Because then those guys are out of the woodwork as well. So we can all go, oh, I see where you're all standing right over there.
Yeah.
In that park. Let's go talk to you and say, what are you thinking? Can you hear what you're saying? Because it's not okay. Anyway, so get some help.
Yeah.
Possibly get into home movies.
It'll change your life, my friend.
It'll change your life.
Yes.
Exactly. So now this will probably go up in June. So
Okay.
where should people go? Do you have a full schedule on Charlie Hester?
I do. I have my full schedule. I will be at the Drop in South Bend, Indiana with my friend Stuart Huff.
I know Stuart Huff.
Yeah, he said to tell you hello.
Well, hello, Stuart Huff.
Yeah, so we'll be there June 3rd. I don't know if it'll be out by then.
Right.
And then after that, by then I should have my New York and Boston shows.
East Coast kinda.
Yeah, we're getting those tour dates slammed down now. So.
Right. So East Coast people go and listen to some dirty songs.
Yeah.
Is what's going to be happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
It's this has been a delight, Charlie Hester. Thank you
so
for
much.
making it happen. And then we're you guys get it. I'm slightly disoriented today. You understand that, Rangers. But you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?